All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a brief audio-visual check. How's everybody doing tonight? You guys can see we have it is Wednesday. We have Coach Jay with us. How are you, Coach Jay?
Doing good, Coach Dakota. How are you, man? How you doing today?
Good. Wednesday, Thursday's price action. Audio-visual looks good on my end. Give me a moment to get a few things set up. Let's see. Get a few things set up. How about you? How was your trading? You trade? For a second I thought Nvidia had earnings, but then I looked at the market and hasn't moved, so I was a little unsure of it.
Yeah, we did have Nvidia earnings. It looks like they beat on revenue and earnings per share expectations. But of course, we'll know how the market responds probably tomorrow morning. There was a question in at the buzzer. Would Nvidia's earnings affect the markets overnight? Has the potential to, but not really seeing it. Today's trading was good though. Traded on fast markets with the team. Took a gold short, S&P long. And then in my personal account in the afternoon, traded some S&P as well and caught some of that rally into the close. But how was your day, man?
I placed one trade, one contract.
Nice.
No, maybe two trades. During the end of power hour, I caught that nice little rally up to those 220s, and that was it. I didn't feel like trading after that price action before, like the way this market's been. I woke up, looked at the price action, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just not trade, lay back down, and get some much needed rest.
Nice.
Now, let's just get started. As always, everybody, in the YouTube chat, there's our Top Step risk disclosure. Everything you guys see from Coach Jay and I is for educational purposes only. It is not a signals class, no matter what. And what I was talking about on Power Hour earlier is everyone's just so obsessed. Fading this guy, fading that guy, copy this, copy that. I will repeat this one more time. I'll always say the same thing. Pay attention to your own trading, your own process. And yeah, there's a risk disclosure there for a reason.
100%. Let me comment on that real quick. When you're watching Topstep TV, the goal is not for you to follow the trades that you see on Topstep TV. I see a lot of that on the internet. It's like, oh, these guys lose trades on purpose, so everybody follows them, and then they have to buy combines. That would be the most sinister way to run a YouTube stream. We promise that's not what's happening. I think the goal of that show, if I was a viewer, right, and wasn't on the show, would be, let me see how these people come to a decision, right? What is their decision-making process, and can I establish it for them, for myself, right? It's not a, hey, let me just follow that person and do what they do.
Well, that's what it's for, right? I mean, I compare when I'm trading in front of everybody, just like a whiteboard. I know in junior high school, college, math is, I've loved math, but with anything, right? You learn by watching a teacher solve a math problem. You're like, okay, that's how they're going to do that. Not like, you're wrong. Unfortunately, trading's not like math where, you're not going to question if the math teacher's right or wrong, but because it's not as concrete, it's not an exact answer, but it's a similar concept when it comes to learning, understanding these different points of view. We have all these different coaches here at Topstep. We have many different points of views on how to see this market, read the market, understand it, these different markets. And we have traders from around the world, and that's kind of the idea behind it is we have so many different traders from so many places around this world, with everybody having their own opinions and their own ways to view the markets. You can't just learn one way to trade and say, this is a one size fits all, and everybody must learn what Coach Dakota knows how to trade. And just everyone, he's the best trader. Everybody learn what he's doing, and we'll all be successful. That's so wrong. That's such a wrong way to look at it. It's, hey, so many resources available. Find what works for you. Follow your own process. And whether it's me, Coach Jay, Paul, Robert, Eddie, some random person online that helps you, who knows? Just follow a process, follow good risk management, and think for yourself.
Think for yourself.
Yes. What are we seeing in the markets tonight? I'm not really excited about that Nvidia earnings. I'm a little let down, to be honest, with any of this market movement. We are right where we were in Power Hour, 21,175. If we want to just go through our regular rapid fire, I'm going to start on the daily chart here in the Nasdaq, and I'm going to say I don't know how I feel about this. I don't. There's two ways of viewing this market. There's always two, maybe three if you want to consider if you're for time decay. But usually we look at the market from a bearish perspective or a bullish perspective, whether you're looking to buy the market or sell the market. From a buyer's perspective, Coach Jay, we are down here at this level of support. We finally had a day where we consolidated, or we finished either in the green or near where we opened. And one could argue that we are at a level of support. We're consolidating this daily chart. If we draw a nice trend line right here, and if this market rallied, will anybody question it? Would we say that makes sense? We sold off. The markets typically go higher. We're at a level of support, and the market should bounce here from a technical standpoint, right? I don't see a reason.
It should, yeah, you would think so on a daily,
right? I mean, from a pure technicals,
I would agree with you.
Not knowing anything that's going on in the world or like tariffs or anything, from a pure price action, excluding any knowledge of news, earnings, tariffs, political events, anything. You look at this from a pure price action standpoint and say, I would like to be a buyer right here. That's the way I view this. I say we're at near a level of support trend line. This market's been bullish. I mean, look at this. All forever, right? Almost. I don't want to say forever, but we have times of pullbacks, and yeah, I don't see a reason why not from a pure technical standpoint. Maybe, I mean, every time we came down here, there's a day or two worth of consolidation, right? 1 or 2 days worth of consolidation, and then we just start continuing the march higher because that's what equities do. And that's from the bullish perspective, simple, straightforward. And then I try and make an argument from the bearish perspective, right? The bearish perspective is we have a lot of momentum to the downside.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of momentum, right? Stair step up, elevator down. Now, we've sold off faster before, right? You can see what happened in August. We've had much bigger sell-offs, right? 1, 2, 3 days. Like, look at these 3 days back here in August. That was huge in 3 days. And it's only been half, right? That's half the sell-off. And back in August, that was a V-shaped recovery. We sold off, 2,300 points in 3 days, 2,400 points in 3 days in August. Absolutely insane. It doesn't matter what was behind it right now. I'm just looking from a pure technical standpoint. 2,300 points. Here, we're about half that. We're half that. And we're already seeing the market find buyers, hold up. I mean, we had a V-shaped recovery right after that. I'm trying to make a bearish argument, and I'm kind of struggling. Maybe we see a double top. It's a new year. We have a new president. There's a lot of tariff talk. There's a lot of fear in the market. There's a lot of uncertainty. And when I'm bringing all that stuff up, I think it's a lot more of opinion based, right?
I agree. Yeah, from a technical perspective, like you said, we should be bouncing here, but we know how quickly a headline or news or the T word can change that.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the battle of the bears and the bulls, right? It's like, well, technically markets go up. We're at a nice level of support. From the bears, I can't see any technical reason to sell this right now. It's all going to be based off of what I'm hearing and observing from the news and from the media and from headlines. So it's an interesting spot here in these markets. And not only that, we look at where we are at for the year for 2025, and we look and say, well, we are where's the opening for the year? It's basically right here, right? Is it 260s? Where did we? Is that it? Is 240s, 230s, somewhere right there?
With the underlying, we were negative on the year yesterday, but
yeah,
let's see. Yeah, right around 270, 278.
278 is where we started the year off.
About there, yeah.
Close enough. Anyway, mid 200s. Yeah,
yep.
21,000 mid 200s, and we're kind of right there. And so I think we're at a spot where, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to be a seller here. It really is. I mean, can you make an argument to sell this market? I'm sure someone in chat can. From a technical perspective, there is one thing, the only one thing I could see and consider for selling this market is the momentum. And sometimes we just have like one little like exhaustion, hesitation, and then maybe we could continue the momentum down. But right now you're kind of just like, for me, it's like, yeah, just guesswork from a daily. And this is from a very top down, right, zoomed out point of view on the daily chart. On the hourly chart, I mean, on the hourly chart, maybe you could start making a better argument for the bears, right? We're continuing to make lower highs. We continue to make lower highs. And, we failed to make a higher. We failed to break the previous day's high. And even during Nvidia earnings in this, a lower high. And so maybe there's an argument that, this is a bearish flag and we can break down to 21,000, and the next level of support would probably be like 20,800s. But I'm not seeing any good setups to say short this market right now from the way that I trade. Coach Jay, what are you seeing on your end?
Let's take a look. So
I'll switch charts to yours.
On the daily, the target that I had to the downside was right around 20,800. We have this white line here, which is this 200 moving average, which is about 400 points away. So I'm looking at 20,800 because this line should continue moving closer to the market as the market moves down. Can I make a bearish case right now to take a trade? I work with Coach Paul a lot. He says anytime a market is under the 200 moving average on a 30-minute chart, he's only looking to sell. And that's kind of where we are in the Nasdaq right now. We can see every time we kind of had any relief bounce, it's been sold off. There really has not been a convinced bid in this market for the past 2 weeks. Now, that can change at any moment, right? But we haven't seen any of these rallies really hold. What I would be looking at tomorrow, going into tomorrow, if I had to make a case to the short side, is what do we do with this candle after Nvidia's earnings? This 30-minute candle here, the high is 21,325. The low is 21,065. And why am I looking at this range? It's because this is the price action that happened after Nvidia reported. So when we get into the trade for tomorrow, again, how does the market respond around this range? If I don't see buying above 21,300, that's my case to sell. With risk, probably it would have to be pretty wide, somewhere up above 400s.
What a volatile market.
One micro.
Wow.
One micro.
So like you're kind of looking at this candlestick from Nvidia earnings where the high is what, 328s, 320s, and the low is like 054. So about 300 point range on that candlestick.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It was pretty much almost today's full range in 2.5 minutes. Just seeing how the market will respond around that range. Again, it didn't really, I think a lot of people were looking for Nvidia to really change the market direction or change the sentiment, and it hasn't done that, right? We're still very much in this range. And at this point, I don't know what does it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is a lot of volume there. I'm assuming, right, Jay? There's a lot of volume around that Nvidia. That's kind of what everyone is watching and paying attention to. And I think we just see, like, okay, today's fresh. We just had Nvidia earnings. We are going into tonight. We have Thursday and Friday for this week, and let's just see how this market reacts around this candle. And I do like that where these 320s are going to be the high, and 050s will be the low. And let's just see what this market wants to do. Right now we're flat, basically. We haven't really done anything.
Right now we're trading exactly at 50% of that candle. So there's no decision for me to make right here.
Yeah. And I think we're both in agreement. Nothing to do. Let's just wait. Let's see what the markets do. Let's see if there's anything else set up. It's weird. I mean, we love volatility, but not this. This is just not clean. It's the beautiful thing about futures, Coach Jay, is we have that luxury to just say, you know what? Let's take a look at crude oil. Because there's always a bull market somewhere, as the Kramer says, is let's take a look at crude. I haven't traded crude for a little bit. We had that big sell-off below $70 a barrel, and I mean, there's a lot of chop. There's a lot of chop right here around 68. If we kind of zoom out, you can see where we are chopping basically just under this area of support and resistance. We're under $70 a barrel. I'm looking for the market to come down to 75 to 75 and a half. And I hate to say this one too. I think this is just no trade zone for me. This is a very bearish market. It's been sell these rallies, and we just finished selling the previous rally from 71 down to 68s. And so now I think we just wait. We just see if we get some type of a pullback, maybe a nice little rally up to $70 a barrel, and maybe look for opportunities to short it. It's too hard to be a buyer of crude. This is the slow markets trading account. This is the combine that I'm trading for the slow markets for education. And I'm not going to be looking too interested in getting into a long on crude. How about yourself?
I was bullish crude above $70, and we're trading below $70 right now. So I was completely wrong. I've been looking to buy crude, maybe against my better judgment, but I haven't done it, which is good, right? What I thought should be happening and what's happening is not the same. And I think not costing me any money has been good. Do I sell it here? Maybe, like you said, maybe on a bounce to 70. Yeah. What am I seeing from a technical perspective? We're kind of at the high of that range on the daily that we sat in for 3 months. And I was looking for that to potentially act as a support. We haven't really started to sell through it, but I've been incorrectly bullish on crude, but it hasn't cost me anything. So maybe I'll wait until it starts to rally.
It's just sitting on our hands on the Nasdaq. Same thing with crude oil. Next, let's take a look at the Nikkei. That has been...
There is a bid in crude at 68.75, 100 contracts, which is decent size for crude oil.
That wasn't there a second ago, was it?
I didn't see it, but it is sitting there. Maybe they're watching the stream.
Maybe they're watching the stream. As soon as we start talking, they're just buy it. Buy it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not... I got Nikkei pulled up over here. And, a whole lot of nothing again. I mean, we zoom out here on this market, the Japanese market, and I mean, we're in this big range. We've been in this range. I've talked about it every single night. We are now consolidating. I was talking about this consolidation here, and I think I could see this market still consolidating. Maybe there's just like the Nasdaq, I said, from a technical standpoint, you trade the pattern until the pattern breaks, right? Nasdaq was looking like a buy because every time we get down to that trend line, we buy it. You trade the pattern until it breaks. Is this another one? Every time the Nikkei comes down towards these 38,000 level, this lower zone, amazing buying opportunities. I mean, I would hate to be in a position to be too fearful, like, this time's different. Famous last words, this time's different. This time we could sell off. And then, next week we were right back up to the top of the range. And it's like, oh, damn it. That was a good buying opportunity on the Nasdaq. And that was a good buying opportunity in the Nikkei. I was too hesitant. And instead of taking action, I was being fearful. And I should have been greedy when everyone was fearful, and fearful when everyone's greedy. That one of those things. But I don't know. I think here I would like to see more consolidation, and then maybe if we do come back up and break through these 38,500s, maybe then I could start to see a move up higher, because I'm not trying to catch the exact bottom and the exact top. I'd be okay with being more patient, waiting to see if this market's willing to turn around, or maybe give a better opportunity to get into a decent position to the long side. But I am looking to the long side of the Nasdaq. I am looking for the long side of the Nikkei until the market tells me otherwise. And I think that's what it's going to be. Just trade the pattern until it breaks from this higher perspective. And if it breaks, then adjust.
The Nikkei does, just looking at a couple of things here, this 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. Again, it's tested it a couple of times. I just put this on in a practice account just to kind of measure risk, but it's been acting as a resistance on the way down, and it looks like we're getting ready to cross and hold above it. If that happens, then I agree with you. There's a ton of room to the upside. Maybe back up to those 40,000s on a daily. It looks like looks a little different on the daily. But it's been bouncing from this area for how long now?
Are you long in the practice?
I'm long, yeah.
Okay. What brings you into that long?
All right, so let's go to a 30-minute chart. We have 30-minute opening range, which is this box right here. VWAP left the range to the upside, so I'm buying at the high of that range. Risk is at the low.
Okay, fair enough. Simple, straightforward. I'm not seeing any setups on my end, but I do agree with that. It's just one of those. It is looking tempting now that you pointed that one out. I mean, I'm looking at my chart too, and that's kind of what it is on the 5-minute chart, right? Where it's buy at these lows and higher lows, higher highs. Can we do this? Can we push back up here towards these 300s? That makes sense. You're in a long. I mean, I'm not opposed for that.
Not a trade that I would put on an XFA, just because I don't trade the Nikkei often. Just testing this out from a technical perspective. Let's see if it holds. What I would do here is probably just, if this was any chart, add a second one at 135, which is around 50% of that opening range, and then go from there.
I like that long. It gives you a clear risk, right? If we break down, where's your stop loss?
38.75. So risking about 750 on a one lot.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, a clear defined risk. And what's your upside target?
Well, conservative would be 38,400. So just a little over a 1-to-1, but then above that 605. But I think we would have to have almost a change in market sentiment to get up to 605, because we've been in a downtrend in the medium time frame.
Got it. Well, that's pretty much all I have on the Nikkei too. Let's move on to gold. Talking about gold, I did have a gold slow markets trade last night, and I think maybe tonight I might have missed it to pretty much the identical trade. So if you tuned in last night for slow markets, this was the slow markets trade where we got in short up here. I don't know the exact price, but we could just pull it up. We got in short. Oh, where are we at? What's the date today? Today's the 25th, right? Yesterday, today's the 26th. So we got in short, filled, and at 34.2. So we got in short at 34.2 last night. We got a really good price, to be honest. Wow, okay. I didn't realize it was that good. So 34.2, right up in this, right there. Our stop loss was just above it, right in these 40s somewhere. And then our take profit, we just let that baby run at 29.18. 29.18.7. So entry up here, 29.18 was the take profit. So that I got executed right before the New York session. That was the trade. Beautiful, nice little 2-to-1 risk reward. You guys could see this. Let's pull up the performance statistics. And yeah, there it is. Basically one trade a day. Coach Jay, we didn't trade on this slow markets Tuesday. We started it Friday, one trade, $500. Monday, we'll be while I'm doing this, we will be reviewing trader statistics tonight. So if you want us to review your statistics, go ahead and share them in the Topstep Discord. If you know the drill. If not, up here on the top right-hand side, you can click on share, copy the link, and send it to either mine or Coach Jay's channel in the Topstep Discord. So, yeah, didn't trade yesterday. There's nothing setting up. And last night, it was just this one trade. I fat-fingered one, just in and out. So that's why it says 3 trades, but minus 20, minus 15. Because I got into a mini, then decided, you know what, the risk reward makes sense from micros. And how about that, right? And thank you, Coach. Thank you, Andrew. There's the link. But there's a beautiful example. $775 on 5 micros. You don't need to trade.
Don't need to trade a ton of size.
Tons of size, right? And that's kind of what part of my goal is hopefully, right? Knock on wood, demonstrating you do not need size to pass a combine. I've been trying to get that through my Topstep VIPs' heads, and there's the traders just telling them, you don't have to trade size. Please don't trade size. Scale down. And yeah, so far, 40% win rate because of those 2 losses. It's a little bit skewed. This is why it's important to have a lot of data, because those 2 little mess ups right there skews the data so much. You don't 3 trades, 2 winners, 1 loser, and you don't really you can't really gain any knowledge from these statistics yet because there's only a little bit of data. So one trade could throw this statistics off dramatically. And so there's not much there yet, but average trade duration, it's basically, 211 minutes. Yeah, you don't have to worry about overthinking these trades. You don't
scalping in and out.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. 4 hours and up has been the average trade. And yeah, good demonstration. I'm excited to be doing this. And we'll review the trader statistics probably in 15, 20 minutes. I seen the same setup tonight, Coach Jay, where we came up here to these 2930s again. We had another nice little reversal bar, 3-bar reversal on the hourly chart. And I mean, almost identical to last night, minus that long wick to the upside. What is your thoughts on gold? But I do think it could rotate back down to the lows.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I know Hoag and I were talking right before gold closed earlier today, looking for a short squeeze, potentially, but didn't happen, right? It didn't happen, kind of rejected right around that same area. Gold is an interesting one because in the higher time frame, clearly, if you look at the last 2 years or even more in gold, this is a market that's been just one directional to the upside. But over the last couple of days, we're starting to flatten out a little bit. It's become a lot more range bound. So if I was to do anything here, it would have to be a sell, right? Just because we're kind of at the highs of this range right here. on this 30-minute, but it's holding 2900s also. So if I was looking to buy gold, it's not here unless we can break above 2940 and hold as a support. If I want to buy it now, it has to be somewhere near 2900. So only trade for me here would be to sell it.
Makes sense. I agree. And not much else is happening in these markets, man. I think it's going to be a lot of patience after this. The Nvidia earnings were kind of a letdown for everybody. Well, unless you're selling options. I don't know what else to think of this Nvidia earnings. If anything, like I said, I'm biased to the long side. I do believe that we're going to find some buyers stepping in. I do believe it's just the Nasdaq finds a way. Sometimes it just does it. Like, I personally would rather lose money buying this market than to try and catch shorts. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been in plenty of shorts. We all know that. I've been in a short in slow markets plenty of times with a decent, setup. But yeah, after that massive sell-off, and now that it's I don't know if, would it be fair to say it was a disappointing number, or was it just in line with expectations? Or I know you have at the buzzer, but how was that conversation?
So it exactly the same. So the thing is, right? So we had this move in the Nasdaq, and here's my community service for the day, for all of the Topstep faders out there. If you fade this practice account, you're up $350. But what I'm looking at is, there wasn't a ton of volume traded in that Nvidia candle, Dakota, right? So there was a ton of price action. So same way we see for FOMC, right, where the order books thin out, there was like a 20 tick spread in the Nasdaq. So it's hard to read into any of this price action because most of the market participants weren't trading, right? So the numbers that came out were positive for Nvidia. I didn't look to see what their forward guidance looked like, but the numbers looked good, right? So I think we really have to wait at this point until tomorrow, because we're not even seeing any volume trade overnight. So yeah, it's hard to really put anything into it. Like I said, the numbers look good though.
Numbers look good. So why didn't we rally?
Because there's no volume. No one was trading it. It was a 20 tick spread. 20 tick spread. So maybe we rally tomorrow.
Opinions don't matter in this market, right? Opinions do not matter in this market.
Yep.
No matter what we think, this market will do whatever it wants.
Whatever it wants.
Whatever it wants. We just react.
That's all it is.
Just answering a few questions. Let's get to a few questions. Richard Harris is asking my height out of all things. I am 184 centimeters tall.
That's a okay question, right? Sometimes people want to know like personal stuff, and as long as it doesn't get too personal. Hopefully the chat saw my challenge out there, Dakota, to the chat and the internet in general. Just before you hit enter and send on any of the questions or comments you type, consider whether or not, while watching a trading stream, if the response to that question is going to help make you a better trader.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or is it going to serve some other purpose?
Oh, you see Bitcoin, man. You see Bitcoin?
Is it tanking?
I mean, last night we were around 88, and today we went down to 82.
Yeah.
Someone sent me an article. Coach Hoop, I need to read that article. He sent me, I believe, let me see if I could find it. It was, okay. I'm going to have to watch that. The MicroStrategy Bitcoin holdings, where they're just kind of YOLOing into this Bitcoin, saying as of February 24th, MicroStrategy states the average purchase price as 62,000. So MicroStrategy's average price here in the Bitcoin is 62,000. So how's MicroStrategy's stock price doing?
I haven't checked, but I could imagine right now it's not looking great.
I mean, oh, that always makes me cringe, man, when someone has all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah. And he has a whole company in one basket.
He's like, we're just gonna put everyone just all in this one. I have no. Now remember, everybody, I have no idea any details. This is just very, very outside looking in point of view without knowing the details. But man, you can't be feeling good when you were buying up there above 100,000. Like, in no world. Like, you might feel, you might say it, but inside you can't be feeling good if you've bought Bitcoin above 100,000. I'm looking up. Surprisingly, they're up 5%.
Today.
Yeah.
5% today, down 10% over the past 5 days.
Down 24% in the month, but up 79%. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't own Bitcoin, but I am starting to be tempted to be a buyer. I'm okay with buying some Bitcoin. I've been telling everybody for the past, since December, I don't want to be a buyer up here. I wanted to wait for this pullback. I didn't know if it was going to pull back or not because we don't know anything. But like I said, we were consolidating around 100,000, and I wanted a pullback, and we are getting one. Now the question is, how far do we pull back? I don't know. I want to see some type of support. I was looking at these 88,000s for a little bit. We failed that, and we got down to 82,000. And I think that there might be room down to 78. If we could get to these 77, 78s, then I might be considered just buying without waiting for technicals.
Yep.
That would be my only thing. It's just like, let's just wait. Let's see if Bitcoin finds a bottom around here. Maybe we get down to 78. Maybe we get down to 62,000. Does MicroStrategy have stops? I could see anybody who bought Bitcoin have their stops around 51,000.
The stop for MicroStrategy is if Bitcoin just disappears. I don't think he's ever going to stop buying it.
It's easy to buy something when it's not your money, right?
Right.
Well, I tell you what, Jay, I wouldn't buy Bitcoin right now, even if it was your money.
Not here. Or maybe not with all my money. If you want to start buying it slow, but yeah, I see some room down. We're looking at the futures chart here. We do have this gap. We know, Bitcoin doesn't have gaps because it trades 24/7, but we kind of tested that gap today. And if we sell through this 68, 72s, like you said.
Yeah, 70s. Someone says they're just DCAing. They've been DCAing the wrong way for a while, right? That's not the typical DCAing as we're getting up to. I think he was about a few billion up there in those 807, 107s, 108s. I tell you what, man. If this thing continues to tank. Oh man, it would be one hell of a story. They got to make a movie about that. They would have to make a movie about this if
Bitcoin just
does sell
back
off
to zero.
I wouldn't say yeah. Who knows? There's some movies brewing. I feel it. There's got to be a movie somewhere. Whether he keeps buying and then we rally up and it's a happy ending, or it sells off. There's a movie in here somewhere, definitely.
Oh yeah. For sure. We'll see it in 15 years.
We'll see it in 15 years. From a percentage perspective, we're still only down 25%, which is still not much in comparison because we had that sell-off back in July that was 28%. So still not crazy. Still not too crazy for this market anyway. Percentage, not the biggest percentage drop because of,
what are pullbacks? What are average pullbacks in Bitcoin normally percentage wise? What do they look like?
Right about here. That we've seen a 25%.
Interesting.
Back at the June, right? End of June, then a 28%er, and now we are seeing basically the same thing. We've seen two of them play out in the summer. This one is about there. So we are getting close to that. That's why I'm starting to let's look. Let's see if we can find a buy at bottom here soon. If not, it's one heck of a movie.
Trinka says there is no normal with Bitcoin. I agree with that.
I agree. I agree. Haven't seen a fall like that since Rome. I'm not seeing anything else here tonight, Coach Jay.
No, me either, man. I did get in my second contract on this Nikkei practice account. Just looking at, I took a second contract right around 50% of that opening range holding.
Okay.
Risk is still making a new low for the day, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not seeing too much, and that's okay, right? Sometimes that happens where it's just like, sometimes you're going to sit at your charts and there is no decision for you to make, and that is part of our job as risk managers to not put on unnecessary risk here.
In Nikkei. Just DCA, man. DCA.
Just keep buying it.
Just keep buying. I have a harder time buying the Nikkei than I do the Nasdaq.
A harder time? Yeah, I could understand. I mean, $25 a tick. I understand that.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't just blind buy that.
KB, I know this is future tradings, but do I have any thoughts on Tesla? Not really. Buy it. I'm always for buying and holding. I'm a buyer. I mean, what's the word? Like, how do you lose all your money if you buy and own a stock? The only way you lose money by buying is if it goes to zero. Short selling, you have infinite risk. I'm a buyer, not a short seller. I'm all for buying it and then selling options around that price. But
is there ever it depends on your permeable status?
What do you mean?
So you know how sometimes when someone asks you a question, you say, "Well, it depends." With just buying markets, do you say sometimes it depends, right? Where you could just buy stocks, but some, depending on what you look at, certain companies are just look at a 5-year chart and they're just straight to the downside.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, fair enough. Now remember, this is not financial advice, but
of course,
I'm always for I think Warren Buffett said this, is if you stepped away and not managed that trade or that position for 5 years, you'll still be happy owning it. And like a Tesla, like an Apple, like I don't know, name it, right? Nike, and it's like
a company that you think that you have a good feeling is gonna be around 10 years from now.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm all for it. The way I like to buy it is the same way that David Green loves to trade. Is you sell puts, meaning say you want to buy a $110 stock, but you want to buy it $100. You sell a $100 put, and you collect a little bit of premium. If the market goes down, you own the stock, plus you got a little premium in your pocket. So technically, instead of owning it 100, your cost basis is like 98. And then you sell some calls. If the stock goes sideways, you still make money. If the stock goes down, your cost basis goes down because you're selling calls against it. When it goes up, you make money. So it's just a will strategy. It's basic. It's simple. I do that with stocks. I have that same mindset with the Nasdaq. Obviously we're at Topstep. We're not trading options here. We're day trading. But I still believe that same concept that we have these sell-offs. Great. It's up like a staircase, down like an elevator, and there's some great opportunities to sell these markets. But in the long run, I want the majority of my trades to be typically to the long side. And you've seen that, I think it was yesterday morning when the market was selling off, and I was just, buying it. I ended up the day up $7,000 buying a market that's selling off. Which is weird. Now, of course, it would have been easier just to sell it at the open and be done. The trend is your friend. Yeah, the trend is your friend. But once we get down to a zone, like I referred to, like this daily chart, and I have been looking for this market to bounce, I am going to position most of my trades in the direction of my longer term bias. And my longer term bias right now and the past couple days have been long. Of course, sometimes I get caught up in like different areas of support on our way down. But I'm going to be positioning most of my trades to the long side. And I would rather take a loss with my trades being positioned in a longer time frame bias than I would take a loss trying to sell the market right here, if that makes sense. Now,
makes sense to me.
I know I can't hold it overnight though, Coach Jay, and some day traders like, it doesn't really matter if you're trading on a day-to-day. You just go in each day non-biased, and it's hard for me to do. It's just the way I am. I get that mindset. Just go into the new day non-biased, and then let the market tell you what it wants to do. And then for me, it's like, I get that, but I'm always going to have a bias based off of the longer time frame. And the Nasdaq, it's typically to the long side.
Makes sense to me. I think what I really like about how you traded yesterday was not getting into a full position. Right, you threw out a couple of feelers first, just kind of checking whether or not the market agreed with you, and then when it did, then you went back to full size, right? Which is the right way. Instead of just saying, "Hey, this is my max allocation. I'm right here buying it," and just throw it all on. I think you would have had a completely different day if you didn't think trade management that way. So it's always something to learn. If you didn't see it, definitely watch Fast Markets from yesterday.
I think Hoag, is it Hoag that said it, Coach Jay, where it's like you could care less, but don't trade carelessly or something. That's kind of the mindset where, hey, I'm not stupid to the aspect where I'm just going to be going full position every single time while this market is in the middle of a sell-off. Right. But I don't mind throwing one contract, maybe two contracts at levels of support that has some type of, I went through all my trades last night, Coach Jay, and I broke it down. I broke it down in front of everybody. I said, this market was in a sell-off. However, these were levels of support, and at those levels of support, there was a technical trade right there. And each one of those trades, except for maybe one or two, it was 30 points in the money. That first one where I bought one contract, this was a mistake. It was 60 points in the money, and I ended up not closing it out. And part of that was like, I don't think I realized how volatile this market was. It didn't look like it was that much in the money because it was just like 5 minutes. But yeah, I don't mind throwing on one contract, which is small, 1/5 the position, right? So 1/5 of the position that I usually get in at levels of support that where this market could bounce, because we see this market bounce 60 points in a minute, and we've seen that Thursday. And then finally, when we start getting down to better levels and we start seeing better price structure, guess where my last trade was, everybody? I was long 5 contracts down here from 21,027. Could you imagine if I just had one trade still, right? Like, this is a nice level of support. And now, in no way was am I just like, hey, I'm going to pick the bottom, pick the bottom. So this is a nice level of support. So, like, little details like that. Of course, it's not a longer term trade, but yeah, but hey, this one's a bit bigger. 5. I entered right there with 5 just because it was a better trade. It's like an A+ setup versus, hey, these are filler trades. There could be good opportunities on the way down, which market did show. And then in no way, I do believe most of the time the market will either consolidate or go up, right? The market could do 3 things: go up, consolidate, or go down.
Speaking of markets going up, looks like the Nasdaq and the ES catching a little bit of a bid here.
Yeah, it is.
Don't want to overreact, but we're seeing some buyers stepping in here.
I see it. But yeah, market could do 3 things: go up, go down, or go sideways. And I will bet on 2 of those 3 things happening, which is what, 66%? 66.6 or whatever the math turns out to be. And when we start to sell off at an area of support, I'm like, sure, if this happens to be a trend down day, most of my bigger losses, I think, come from trend down days. That is a 20-point bounce here in the Nasdaq. How's that Nikkei trade doing? Is that... You're mute.
Oh, it's looking okay. A couple ticks in the profit, about 5 ticks in the profit right now. If I took it off here, it'd be $250, but it looks like it's just starting to get going. Right now, I'd leave my risk where it is. If we get above 250, I'd probably start to pull that stop in.
I like that trade. You average into that like you knew what was going to happen. Couple ticks, you're up $300.
I mean, that's the Nikkei. That's that's this market.
You're so
and
good
again,
at
just a practice account,
man. You're so good.
What do you say?
You're so good at trading that account. Do you think it's because you don't care about it?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, it's a practice account. Just let it go.
Yeah. Chapter X. Here's an interesting question. Maybe you can answer this one. Can you guys explain why the market moves up and down if every sell is someone else's buy and vice versa?
Can you guys explain why the market moves up and down if every sell is someone else's buy? It's a good question. For every buyer, there's a seller. But sometimes, so let's say Dakota and I are both trading a market, and he has 100 sell orders and I only have
0. Yeah.
2 buy orders. Right? So he has to sell 100. I want to buy 2. And I'm the only market participant there. In order for him to sell all 100 of his, he has to find someone at a price willing to buy whatever he's selling. Right? So I might, if Dakota's trading, selling trading cards, and he's like, hey, I have 100 to sell. I want to sell them at $10 a piece. And I say, I'll buy them, but I'm only buying 2. And then Coach Hoog comes in and he says, I'll buy some, but I'll buy 20 at $7. I'm not buying them at 10. Now, in order for Dakota to sell them, he'll have to come down to Coach Hoop's price unless someone else steps in and says, yeah, you know what? I'll buy a couple at $9. So for every buyer, there is a seller, but they have to find each other at a price that they agree on.
Yeah. Now, whenever it says there's more sellers than buyers, I'm like, no, we have the exact same amount of sellers and buyers. It just depends on what price that they're selling and buying. That's the way I view it, right? If it's the same amount of sellers and buyers, it just depends on what price. Because I could come in here and I could buy, say, 1,000 contracts. Yeah, there's going to be people that sold me those 1,000 contracts, but it depends on what price that those executions went through. If I enter a buy market, then we're going to be executing 1,000 contracts to the long side. If I put a buy limit, then it's not going to move the price, right? Limit orders do not move price. Market orders move price, and limit orders might scare price. We've seen that today when you put a limit order for 1,000 contracts. People will be a little bit scared. But yeah, limit orders do not move price, unless I'm wrong, Jay. I don't.
No, you're 100% right. So the only way a limit order can move a price is if it's pulled.
Yeah, which is scaring the market, right?
Right. So if someone puts a limit, let's just look at a market so the Nikkei, for example, right now is trading at the offer right now is 38,230. If I had all the contracts sitting at 38,230 and I pulled them, then I could move the market up to 235 because the next buyer is going to have to step in and buy right there. So limit orders do not move the market now.
Yeah. KB, someone has in the Nasdaq all week been playing around with 1,000 contracts.
Man. It's insane.
In the Nasdaq,
I want to sit in whatever meeting where the discussion is, hey, we're trading 1,000 lots in the Nasdaq. It's required. I want to sit in that meeting.
Oh, I
wonder what that conversation is like.
What would they be having? Because I seen it there throughout the day today. Did it ever get filled?
Today I don't think so. Earlier in the week they have a couple have gotten filled, but today I don't think any got filled.
Someone says spoof capital. I mean, yeah, the order itself technically doesn't move the market, but it could influence it the way other people react to it, right? So if you put 1,000 contracts, 50 points from the bid, you're gonna scare a lot of people from wanting to go in that direction. So there
Right.
is that argument, I suppose.
Let's see what else we got here. Any questions we got in Discord? You want to start doing trader reports?
I think we could jump to some trader reports. I'm going through this.
I mean, the markets are starting to move now too. But I'm not taking any other trades tonight.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. Let's go through some trade reports. Now remember, when you submit trade reports to us through Discord, put a description. The more of a description you put, the better it is for us to understand it. And remember, trade history is very important when it comes to like the amount of data. The more data you have, the better it is for us to review. Let's see if I could find some. All right, here's one. Here's an XFA, Coach Jay. Here is an XFA. Let's move it to my chart. This is the one.
Put a heart on it if you can.
What's that?
If you can just mark it with an emoji in Discord, I'll take a look at it.
I'll heart it. 6629. Started it February. Gotcha. It looks like. Yeah. So only looks like 6 days worth of data. This is an XFA, so you're like this is basically you're be able to withdraw this, right? So you could take a payout on this of 22,000. Like that's amazing, right? You can withdraw this if as long as you don't blow it all. That's realized. It's not where you're trading a practice account or a combine. This is great because it has some pressure. Now remember, this has only 6 days, so any trade can influence these statistics by quite a bit. I like this risk reward. A 3.3 risk reward, losing 250, making about 850, 60% winning trade. Now, this might be a little too good to be true. I'd love to see these statistics over a year, right? If you could do these statistics over the year, I'll send you 100,000. You could trade that with these. Hold time is good. Hold time is good. I like that. I'm just trying to see. Trade direction has been short biased. That makes sense, especially over the past 6 days, right? You're going to make 22,000. It would make sense that being a little bit more on the short side was paid better. Not any patterns I'm recognizing, Coach J. All green days. Your one red day, you traded a lot. Your green days, look, 3 trades, 5 trades, 12 trades. Your red day, you that was over trading maybe? I don't know. You did kind of make up some of that. You were down 2,000 and you caught up 1,000 and then you just called it a day. I like that you were able to just call it a day and not kept trying to get back to green. That's not too bad. I don't have anything to say on this one, Coach J. Just pay attention. Typically when I see traders like this, they could let one day get to them. And
so,
yeah.
I was actually just looking at so this is great, right? Stats wise, like you said, Dakota, you can take a payout from this. Actually, you need two more $200 days, but the hold times on this trade is amazing. I'm looking at the trades for today, and the trader was short in the S&Ps from 59.96 and got out of the trade at 59.59. Now, I'm just annotating my chart real quick. And again, I can't argue with the numbers. I'm going to pull up the chart in a second. I'm just getting the trade executions.
Okay, yeah, I see it. I see your screen. You're good.
Short a couple. You got short 59.96, 59.94. And the third one was a short at 60.18. All right. So I'm going to pull up my chart in a second. This is going to all make sense why I'm doing this.
Okay.
But just I really like to kind of get in the mindset of the trader when we could look at their executions. Now, these trade executions happened at the first short was at 8:11 a.m. Eastern time. So before the market opened, they added a contract at 9:48, and then they added another contract at 10:19, and another contract short at 10:56, another contract short at 11:13. So building into a short. 16 and then 22. So the trader had the trade idea the right way, right? So here is, let me pull up this chart now. You can see it over here. So all of these yellow lines on this chart, again, the first trade execution happened at 97, and the exit was here down at 59, right? So building into a short this entire time. The trader obviously is looking at higher time frame analysis on these shorts. My only question here is, where were you wrong? Right? Where was this trade idea invalidated? Right? Because if we're talking about, one contract in the S&Ps, and again, they have a balance where they can sustain some of that drawdown, but 59.97 was the first one on a one lot up at those highs. One contract was down $1,300, right? On one contract, and we built into 5 here, and again, 3 of them were taken up here. So on a 2 lot, you were down about $2,000. So I just, my thought process is, at what point do you accept the trade as a loss? At what point is it building a position short? Because I really do like the ads up here. You understand what I'm getting at here, Dakota?
Yeah.
You held the trade all day, which it was like a 6-hour trade, which is amazing. But how much of that balance are we saying, hey, even if I'm wrong on this, right? Because if this continued to rally, where was your stop loss, right? That's my only question on this, especially because the ads are about 30 points away.
Yeah, that's interesting. Be aware of that. I mean, it's the same thing when I'm looking through this. It's like you're gonna and like you can't be right all the time. You're gonna have a very bad loss. I don't want to say. Okay, let me rephrase that. You're gonna have bad days, right, where you're just not reading the market correct, and it's just how do you manage situations like this to prevent it from going too far against you and blowing that account. But yeah, I understand where that's coming from. Other than that, I mean, not enough statistics to kind of make good decision. On the opposite end, Coach Jay, I have another trade report that I want to share, kind of talking about. This is I'm gonna heart this one. Been in this account since mid-November.
Oh wow.
Mid-November. So that's amazing. Let's look at this. And taken payouts, I believe. Let me make sure. Let me go through. I'm going to read this in depth. So, yeah, mid-November, had a bad drawdown in January, decided to size down, currently working on building it back up slowly. So, beautiful example right here for everybody. And I challenged everybody in the YouTube chat during Power Hour or during Lunchbox Trading and I think you've seen it, Jay. What would happen if somebody was forced to just trade one micro for a year? It's not going to be fun, right? But I would imagine you're going to develop a really good process, and you're going to get to the point where you have zero emotions, and you're not going to want to do it like a job. You're just going to be like, show up 2 hours, you place one trade, you go home. Right? Show up 2 hours, you place 2 trades, go home. It would be so boring, right? Repetitive. Same process every single day, over and over and over. One micro for an entire year, right?
Yeah.
And if they show consistency, and then you're like, okay, well, now do 5 micros for an entire year. Do that same exact process, and if that same consistency, and then a mini for an entire year. And then it goes from making, $200 a year, $500 a year, to, a couple thousand a year, to, 10 or 15,000 a year. Then, 5 or 6 years down the road, you're making, $100,000-$200,000 a year. Like, I know, yeah, look at that. I knew that's what it sounds. It sounds super boring.
Yep. Yeah, that's what everyone in the chat is saying.
That's why.
It's intentionally boring.
So you take that. Now you know what it feels like to trade in front of everybody here. I'm not going to say it's like trading 1 micro, but you have to look at it like that. Oliver, everybody in the chat.
Johnny says, I need that Rari now. The good thing about cars, they make a new one every year. Right? So whether you're buying the 2025 Ferrari or the 2035, they make a new one every year.
I tell you what, you make it, like we were saying, you make $1 in a year, you're already better than 98% of traders from that aspect. And nobody in the chat's going to be willing to do that. I guarantee it. Nobody in the chat's disciplined enough to do it because they want to get that money now. They'll be very bored. It's going to be a waste of their time. It's not worth it. Yeah, could I? I wish I did. I tell you what, I wish I did. That sounds like a whole lot better than losing what I've lost some years when I started out.
Right.
I tell you what, I guarantee you, if I did that when I first started, I would have found success faster. It's so hard to be that disciplined. It's the ugly truth. Now, maybe you don't want to do it a whole year. Maybe do it for 6 months, right? Maybe, and it doesn't have to be a prop account. I never said anything about a prop account. If this is just a demo account or if it's your own personal account, right? Maybe if you don't have the patience for a year, maybe do 6 months. Heck, I'll challenge everybody to do it for a month. Trade 1 micro for a month.
Trade 1 micro.
Right? See how it is. See how it is. See how you feel. If you could develop a solid process with 1 micro, that's all that matters. The idea is developing the process. It's not about the money right now. If you haven't made it to an XFA, if you have not taken a payout, and if you're not making money, then it's the process. If you're struggling with the process, if you're struggling with doing that, and this, everybody, these statistics, that's why I have this, and that's why I'm talking about it with this pulled up right here. $2,000 since November. I could go work at McDonald's starting in November and make more, right?
Yep.
It would be less emotional. Yeah. What's the wage at McDonald's now? What, $1,000 an hour?
$1,000 an hour. Where do I sign up?
I'm joking. I'm just saying, like, from what everyone's getting paid. But that's the point, right? This trader has been in this XFA trading 1 to 5 trades a day and is still going at it. I love to see this. Absolutely. The confidence that this trader has started to build, right? Looks like you traded big a couple times, lost big a couple times, but slow. Looks like you took some days off, and then you're slowly getting out of that hole, right? Starting to build out of that hole, starting to show profits. And we scroll down and look at this. And I can guarantee these are all micros. This trader is trading 2 to 3 micros. It looks like maybe 5 every once in a while.
A couple 5s in there.
At a time. But that's when they took the loss. It looks like they took their loss trading those 5 micros, scaled down, and is starting to trade their way out of the hole. So it looks like they scaled down a couple trades a day, 2 micros, right? Win or lose, 2 micros, $100. 2 micros, $100. 2 to 3 micros, like $100. Losses, $60, $60, $17, $2. Bigger loss, $130. If somebody can do this, this is a trader I want on my Top Step Trading League. This is the type of statistics I want to see on my top. It's not flashy. It's not crazy. 1 trade a day, even on the losing days. Capping those losses is just, this is awesome. This is awesome. It's boring. It's freaking boring.
Yeah, that is very boring.
Success isn't fun. The grind to get there is not fun. You could go ask Kobe. You could ask Michael Jordan. You could ask whoever your GOAT is in any sport and ask them, how was your journey? Was it fun? Was it all sunshine and rainbows and shiny and making all this and flashy? Well, hell no, it wasn't. This is what success looks like behind the scenes. Over and over again. It's a slow, consistent grind of developing a process so that way when this trader starts to continue to develop this process and scales up, they're still going to be confident. Not only are they going to be able to develop this process and be confident, they're doing it in an XFA. They're doing it in an account that matters. So I don't think we're going to really see very many examples like this where a trader is going to be doing this in an XFA, knowing that every dollar they make, they could take a payout, because too many times traders are too tempted to scale up because it's an XFA. And if they see a really good setup, they're going to size up because they're going to make some money. And that leads us back to the question we've been asking us as coaches, right, Jay? Is how do you feel when you see a trader on your VIP pass in less than a week?
Concerned.
Why?
Just because we know that the style of trading that normally gets there is not sustainable. And it's tough, right? It's probably more fun. Dakota, you sound like you were quoting Remember the Titans.
Oh yeah,
is football fun? It's like zero fun, sir. But yeah, I mean, we're concerned about those traders who pass too quick because it's not sustainable, right? You're probably taking outsized risk for the account that you're trading, and the numbers just don't look great, right? For what we've seen, they kind of usually crash and burn. So yeah, shout out to that trader, $2,000 in, and again, I think what's really important is identifying where trading fits in your life. I think a lot of people have the goal of, yeah, this is going to completely replace my income. I'm going to quit my job and things like that. Based on these numbers, I don't know what everyone's financial situation is like, but maybe this trader isn't able to do that. But at the same time, hey, maybe I can take a couple of trades a day. Looks like you're in average 15 minutes, and then I go do something else, right? And is trading better suited for you as a supplemental income instead of your full income, right? This trader make an extra $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 over the course of a year. It's going to help, right? It may not change your whole life, but it'll help.
That pays off a car, right? That pays off whatever that is.
A student loan.
Yeah, even if, to me, it's more about just the process. It is
100%.
It's developing good habits. It's boring. I love what you said, Dakota. Do you want to have fun or do you want to make money? And like, if you want to have fun and get an adrenaline rush, there's activities outside of trading that you could go do that. You could go bungee jumping. You could go do whatever, play video games. Whatever you find fun and whatever you get adrenaline or get your endorphins from, just don't let it be your trading. Don't get your endorphins and your adrenaline and your fun from trading. You need to find a way. If you want to have fun trading, you need to find a way to have fun in the process. not the outcomes.
100%. I don't know if we're allowed to play clips from other people's YouTube, but I really want to play that Remember the Titans football is fun clip. So instead of doing that, I'll just share it in the chat. You guys can watch that on your own time. But that's, I think we just figured out who Dakota is as a VIP coach. Just watch Denzel in that clip.
Denzel Washington. Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it after this class. I think I'm going to, the next 13 minutes, Coach Jay, let's just talk about these stats. I don't really want to move on from this because I believe it's that important. And this is something that needs to be talked about a lot more, and everybody in the chat needs to realize it, whether it's something they can't accept that the market's going to force them to accept one day, or they're going to give up because they can't accept this idea, or maybe they just get lucky and end up finding, success after needing to hit that reset button a lot more than they probably should have. Yeah, it's going to be expensive if you're going to do it the other way. I've seen it. You can do it trading bigger, but it's going to cost you a lot more. It's going to
cost you a lot.
What you see here.
Yeah, definitely so.
This is just a beautiful thing to see. I'm curious, do they take any payouts? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. Looking at that report, I don't think so.
Yeah, didn't it trade through Thanksgiving? $1,300 that month, $700, $800 that month. That's a car payment and insurance where I live. Minus $800 that month. That sucks. Imagine trading all that time and effort for an entire month just to lose money. It happens. Sizing down. Very next month, basically $800. Yeah, it's that consistency. Gold finally broke lower. Yeah, that was a good setup. That was a good trade, Coach Jay, on this gold. How's that Nikkei trade doing?
It was up about $500, came back down, rejected off of VWAP. It's up 2 ticks right now still. I'm gonna hold it. Yeah, I mean, it's just a practice account. Could I have taken profit at VWAP? Probably, but my profit target is a little bit higher, and trade isn't invalidated at this point, right? Maybe I could have scaled out and took one off and held a runner, but gonna leave it for now.
Yep. Man, I'm not really seeing much in these markets. I think it's just good. The only trade was that gold. Like, if maybe it was 30 minutes early and looked at it and seen this setup, I mean, that's part of it. You can't see every setup because you can't be in front of the charts 24/7.
Yeah.
Some you miss trades like this. Like, this is almost identical to the trade from yesterday, and it's working out pretty well. And yeah,
what would your target be on this?
On gold?
2,900.
My target would be 29.20, 29.18. It'd be the same target as last night. So
that makes sense.
Last night the target was 29.18.7. We're basically,
there's some serious volume coming into this gold short here. This is like,
oh wow,
New York session. This is like daytime session volume right here in this last 3 minutes. This might continue to sell.
That was that was a beautiful opportunity. Who's in it? Who's in this gold trade? Anybody in the chat?
Six MG said gold long looks interesting about a minute ago, and then said, yeah, psych. That's good analysis, right? If you think the market has the potential to do something and it's telling you it doesn't, you can save yourself some money by staying out of it. So I don't know that I'd be looking for gold longs here. If your process says to buy it, though, buy it and manage risk.
That's New York session volume. I see it. Like
it's close to it.
What?
Yeah.
Hour?
Yeah. So if we look at that last 3-minute candle, that traded 1,200 contracts, and that's more volume than some of the candles that we had during the New York session. Now let's see if that volume is sustainable because it's at this time of night, but that's a ton of volume. I might actually get into a short here. I may switch over to my XFA and take this short from 23, risking 25.
Short gold?
Gold, yeah. Would be risking about $300. Let's see how we respond at 50% of this candle here.
Okay. Short at what price?
23s, 25s.
On a pullback. Okay.
Yep.
See if we can get a pullback.
The only thing is, right, so with reading volume, is it sustainable for the time of day, right? The short that I got in, I took a short this morning in gold, and it was off of this candle right here, where it's same trade idea, right? Where we got some momentum to the downside. We traded up to 50% of that candle. I got in short here, risked the highs. The difference is the probability of follow through volume is a lot higher at this time than it is right now, right? So I'm not in this short because I'm thinking, that was a random volume spike. What is the likelihood that we get follow through volume at this time of night when it normally trades lower volume? So with that, like Randy Jackson said, I'm out.
Like Randy Jackson.
It's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me.
We're at 23.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it, though, because the potential for follow-through volume, I don't see being there. So it could go.
Why is that? Because you're looking for 23, 25s. Now we're here. What's changed?
Because so from a price perspective, it's a trade I would take. From this being a momentum trade, what I see as the potential for follow-through volume is lower. If this was during the daytime session, I would be short right now. But I don't trade gold normally at this time. So I'm looking at it as there's less likelihood of follow-through volume. Let's look at the volume from last night, right? It's inconsistent, right? Where we get these spikes and then volume kind of dies. When the volume dies, the movement does. So I don't want to get into a trade from a price perspective if I'm the only one going to continue selling it from here. Again, two different trades if this was high volume time.
Got it.
And it could work, right? It could work, and maybe I'm wrong about the volume, but again, I don't trade normally during this time. I know if I was taking this during the New York session, that volume isn't just going to die.
So let me just thinking about your thought process right here. You wanted 23s, 25s. We got it.
Yep.
And so if this market does start to sell down now, which we're starting to see that.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Are you just going to take it? Is this going to affect your future trades?
No.
Walk me through, because I know a lot of traders will see this like, I might sell this. I'm looking to sell this at 23, 25. We got 23. We don't sell it. Market sells off. You wake up tomorrow and we're down to like 29,000. And then you think, man, why did I not sell this? What the heck? And the next time it happens, you end up just forcing a trade. And then that one's a loser, right?
Yep. So this one for me, again, like I said, if this was New York session, I'd take the trade, and we could see it playing out. My trading mentor, the only trading mentor I ever had, would say all the time, if you think about all the money that you didn't make in a trading day, you would drive yourself crazy. So is this a missed opportunity? based on a strategy. It fit part of my strategy, but not all of it. Again, I don't normally trade during this time. And I've seen inconsistent volume, and volume's 80% of my trading strategy. Didn't fit my criteria. That's okay. Maybe somebody else took it, because here we're 5 points in the profit right now, but I'm okay. Gold could sell off to 2,900. Am I going to think about the money that I could have made? Maybe for a little bit, right? I'm human, but you kind of got to go next play mode, because you miss opportunities when you kind of harp on what you missed. L says I took it with a 6 lot. I mean, to the tick, right? So the analysis is there. Maybe next time I tell myself, hey, there's actually decent volume during the Asia session, and I take it. But
this market, man, that trade, that's all right. This is the only thing we're seeing volatility in, right? I'm not seeing.
That was a quick $400 right there. It's okay. It happens.
It's the woulda, coulda, shoulda trade.
It's going to keep going too, right? Just because we talked about it.
We just watched it sell off for the last 2 minutes.
Just count my dream profits.
Yeah, Jay, you switched to your XFA, and you could.
I didn't switch. I didn't switch.
Oh, okay.
I was going to.
You should have. You should have switched, and you should have.
I should have switched. I should have sold it with 4, maybe 5 contracts. 15. Contracts. All 15.
23. Come on.
I mean, to the tick. We're 5 points.
I know, you called that one. Man.
Hey, so I'm going to let everybody know something. That happens more times than I would like to admit, but more often than not, I'm taking the trade, right? The analysis was there. That's how I look at the markets every day. If you guys were asking why I thought about taking this trade, we have this high volume candle. The market traded back to 50% of it. This is your short, risk above the high, and just ride the ride until it stops. Now, let's see if it does it another one. We got some high volume here. We have about another 30 seconds on this candle, so we'll do it again. All right, we're going to frame it out. Again, I'm not going to take this trade. We'll see where this 30-minute candle stops. No, we only got 20 seconds left in slow markets. But we'll frame out that candle. Again, higher volume than the last one. So I'm looking at that. And let's see how the market responds from here.
Gold's mover, slow markets.
Yeah, I mean.
Man.
Here we go. Okay, that candle printed. So now let's see what happens here, because, and I know, Dakota, we might have to end the session soon. So this is what I'm looking at. Again, what is the potential for follow through volume here? We got 2 candles, pretty high volume. We came down to what was Dakota's target down here, 29.18, right? So I'm also thinking that there might be some demand down here, some buying in gold. This is what I didn't want to see, right? Where we get this hesitation. So 5-point trade, 6-point trade, but that was it from there. If this 50% of this candle held and we continued selling, stop would go up above the high and then go from there.
Like it, man. Love it, man. That was the trade of the slow markets. I couldn't. There's nothing else setting up here. Yeah. Once again, another day in the slow markets where there was no slow market trade. I mean, sure, there was that one, but nothing from where I look at my slow markets higher time frame. Missed this one just like that. Coach Jay missed it with you. If we was in earlier, maybe looking to short around 29.31 on that 3-bar reversal. Take profit was right there. I mean, it would have hit take profit in slow markets. That was a nice 2-to-1 risk reward. Identical to the other one. Beautiful setup. Didn't take it. So looking at these statistics, just like we have been, guess what? 3 trades in the last week. Did not take one tonight. So Thursday is a no trade day. And maybe there'll be a setup tomorrow. But 3 trades in a week. you want to have fun? Do you want to make money? That's gonna be my. That's gonna be the slogan of Pop Squad. Process over profits.
Yeah, I like that. Bradley, do I find this situation as a trigger when I don't take a trade and it plays out? If there's anything that puts me on tilt, it's that not taking a trade when it plays out again to the. What would have been the drawdown on that gold trade? A tick?
A tick? A tick?
Commissions maybe?
Commissions
was the
a
drawdown?
tick? Yeah.
It's okay. It happens. At this point, I've accepted it, right? It's a reminder to myself that, hey, when you measure something, take it. The risk is worth it. If it's not measured, leave that bullshit where you found it. But yeah,
Yes.
could have made a couple bucks on that.
Credit to you, Nick Richardson. That's credit to Nick Richardson. Man. Nick Richardson. There we go.
What did I miss?
No, he's the one that said that. Do you want to have fun or make money?
Oh yeah, it's a good quote.
I dare you to say my name, Blowjob Baggins. People, these traders.
Let's go ahead and hit
All
that
right.
stop streaming button.
And that's all for Slow Markets. Like and subscribe, and I will catch everybody tomorrow night. Take care, everybody.